Mark,
What's happening?
not much. We got another worlds without a Justice League.
There's a
Two
lot of them.
stories:
Yeah.
Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter this time, and we will talk about both of them right after this. So, welcome back to another edition of DC Comics Deep Dive.
We're
We got
here.
Dark Crisis, Worlds Without a Justice League, Wonder Woman. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification button so that you're notified whenever we upload new content. So this is a week with one of the tie-ins. Um, Mark is furiously poring over the contents right now. Um, uh, this is the third of five, I believe. World Without a Justice League. We had Superman, then we had Green Lantern, and now we have Wonder Woman. Next month is Green Arrow, and then we have Batman to end it all. So this is basically taking a look at the worlds that all of the Justice League were sent to by Pariah when he supposedly killed the Justice League.
Right.
So here we start out with Wonder Woman, who is furiously trying to get to the inauguration of President Etta Candy. Starts off. So we immediately know that in the world that Diana Prince Wonder Woman would see as her ideal world, her best friend Etta Candy is president. Um, I originally thought when I first read it, because almost the first page almost kind of lulls you into a sense that maybe it was Wonder Woman who was the president,
Mhm.
but it's not. It is Etta Candy, and so that's where we start off with things.
Yeah, this book was terrible. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. As soon as you said her ideal world, that's what these are. These are the Justice League characters in what they perceive as a paradise world that fills them with hope. And you're going to see where the writer of this did not take that into consideration when she wrote this story because it goes off the rails for that. It doesn't fit in with the rest of them. And as we get to it, we'll cover that. But yeah, it was a fine opening. It started having the right vibes. Oh yeah, her best friend is president. That
Mhm.
I guess that makes sense. I guess that's weird that she pictures Etta Candy as the president, but whatever. Well, I'll
Mhm.
accept it. Let's keep going.
Right. And so the first thing that Wonder Woman does is she flies off with Etta Candy back to Paradise Island.
Not before crapping on the Bible. Not that I really
Oh, right.
care, but it. I mean, it's worth pointing out that this writer
Yep.
decided to crap on the Bible in this issue and make Etta the very first president to not swear in on the Bible because that book means nothing to Etta and the writer of this book, and that she would rather be sworn in on a Amazonian book.
Right.
Thought that was
Yes.
a like I'm reading it like again I don't care, but that stopped me in my tracks. I'm like that's bold to do.
Mhm. Yep.
Like, that's really making a very bold statement on page two. Like, is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah. Basically setting up the Amazons and their way of life above,
Ours,
above and beyond anything else.
yeah,
So,
weird.
um, and so we get to Paradise. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. You're absolutely right.
It was just odd. This writer
And
just
the thing is, it wasn't even. They could have almost have done it without her actually saying that either. They could have just said, oh yeah, we got this book, whatever, but they actually called attention to the fact that she wouldn't swear on anything else because
leave it open. Leave
this
it
book
open.
is the one that is the highest ideal to aspire to.
Yeah, yeah. The Warriors,
Right.
like yeah. Again, as like I never enjoy writing that can't just deliver what they're saying without having to deliver it and say it. Like
Hmm.
assuming the reader is stupid, or you're either assuming the reader's stupid, or you're just trying to beat us over the head with what you're trying to tell us. And apparently, that's how Howard writes.
Hmm. Right.
Not too familiar
Um,
with this writer. I had to look her up before we did this. I'm like, who
yeah,
is
we actually we said, okay, what else is she writing? It's like, oh, she's writing Catwoman and she's writing all sorts
a
of
bunch
X
of
Men
X
stuff.
Men book and Rick and Morty. It's a bunch of stuff that's not on either of our regular
Right.
pools.
Right.
Heard of them,
Yep.
never experienced this writer.
Right. Um, so we end up going to Paradise Island, um, but the first thing that happens when they get to Paradise Island is the Queen makes Etta Candy an honorary Amazon.
Yeah.
Um, and so there is all sorts of cheering and mirth and lots of different things that go on.
But
Um,
why did she make her an honorary Amazon?
Go ahead.
Because this is her second term as president. She successfully defeated the ideals of her competitors back in the states, and her ideological war was won by being solidified with the second term. She
Mhm.
won the war on ideology,
Right.
so Hippolyta made her an honorary Amazon.
Mhm.
Bro, I have bruises all over my head from this writer just pounding me with
Yeah.
messages. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Just a
It's
just a
so on
tad
the nose,
heavy-handed.
it's ridiculous.
Just
Yeah,
a tad heavy-handed.
I don't care about her messages, it's the delivery. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you got it. That's just poor writing when you're not more tactful than that,
Hmm.
Like I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
It was just funny. I'm reading like, is this what we're really doing?
Right.
Oh man.
Um, and then in a really, to me, what was kind of bizarre was the whole thing then starts to turn on the fact that they seem that the Isle of the Paradise Island has a missile on it.
Yeah, but we didn't know that until Diana cheated in a race against a kangaroo.
Right. Correct. Right. Right. Exactly.
Why was that even in there? This you turn a page and all of a sudden we're in a race with a kangaroo. No context, no
Yep.
segue. We're just racing a kangaroo.
Yep.
Diana says, "Hey, you can't beat me," and cheats by flying.
Right.
Like great page, probably my
Right.
favorite page. Like
Yeah, and it's just done so nonchalantly too. It's just like it just says, mornings. Okay, so it's the next morning, and she's racing a kangaroo, and it's like, and it seems to be something that happens quite often.
must be they're on
Um,
a first name basis.
yeah,
Jumpa,
exactly.
kangaroo named Jumpa.
Yep. Um, and so that's when we find out that there is a missile on Paradise Island that
Yes,
Queen Hippolyta has.
trying to hide away from Diana. It seems like a bunch of them know and trying to keep it from Diana.
Right. Right. And so she ends up actually falling into the silo, and she ends up in this black goop, which is the Well of Souls.
Well of Souls, that's right.
And who is there but her longtime nemesis, Doctor Psycho?
Yeah, the man with the catchphrase which will not be said.
Exactly. Yeah. He's a little bit. He has a little bit more tact here than he does on the Harley
Yeah,
Quinn show.
he's a little more controversial on the Harley Quinn show for sure.
Yeah,
I can't see him now without thinking that immediately.
I know.
Like, I just read his dialogue waiting for him to say it.
Um, Here it's funny because you know what? I mean, Tina Howard like says everything you like hits you over the head, but here we have to imply that he's saying that.
Yeah, I definitely implied it.
Yeah,
As soon as she doesn't believe him, just I fill in his response on my own.
right. Um, and it's funny because he has some choice words for Diana. He calls her a nag. Says that the Amazons are annoying. Um, that we just wanted to reach peace like men, but when it says peace like men, the image is an image of tanks and soldiers and and battles and things like that. Um, so it's again that hitting over the head, that's how men reach peace, is through war, basically. um,
It's a very anti-men book. It really is. But
Correct.
it was funny watching her try to try to tell us how bad we are.
um, and so it comes down to the fact that uh, the missile ends up going off. Sorry, the missile ends up going off.
Well, they revealed
And
what it was. Like Diana had made a
right,
deal with Gaia to
yep,
feed her the souls of men who are always going to kill each other because, as Dr. Psycho said, women have always been better than us, and we realize that. So she made a deal with Gaia to just feed her the souls of men, and she forgot that she made that deal with the help of the Amazons trying to keep it from her, and they have this pact with Gaia. And
right,
Diana's like, "No, we can't do this."
right. And so they end up again. The missile ends up going off. Um, uh, and then she puts Doctor Psycho in her golden lasso, and basically, he basically goes and says, "Who is Wonder Woman if she's not a wonder to those around her? No wonder you could crave a world like this one, a terrible place that only you are willing to save."
Yeah. So we skipped the part where all of Themyscira is turned into a rocket ship, and
Hmm.
all of Themyscira decides to leave Earth for the stars because men has poisoned this world so much it's not worth saving. And Diana lassoed Dr. Psycho and stayed behind on Earth because only she can save men from themselves.
Again, hitting over the head. Only Wonder Woman could possibly save Earth, right, from themselves.
Superman sure as hell
Um,
can't. You know what I mean? He's only Superman.
right. Um, um, and
And her
so
her Cree at the end,
right,
uh, she let Doctor Psycho go because it's his duty to make himself a better man. That is the justice she wants.
right.
Okay, okay.
That's
I
it.
need an ice pack after reading this. It was terrible, man. It was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it definitely has been the weakest of the entries so far, for lack of a better term. Um, but I'm sure there are people out there who I'm sure will enjoy it.
I hope.
But it just won't be either one of these two people.
I just think it's weird. And calling back to what I said at the beginning, how is Wonder Woman's paradise world one that she sees as so terrible that all of her sisters have to leave the planet where only she remains, and she thinks the earth is so bad she has to wage a one woman war on men? That's her paradise? You're kidding
Right,
me, right?
right,
Diana, who only wants to explore the world of men and see, her paradise would literally be a world without war. That's her
correct.
mission. That's her goal. Her paradise would be that Themyscira's walls come down because everyone can live in harmony. That's her peace.
Right.
That's her
Exactly.
paradise.
And it's funny because to me, the exact opposite, um, of her, when Dr. Psycho says a terrible place that only you are willing to save. No, that's not it. Her paradise would be a world that she didn't need to save.
Exactly. Where men and women stepped up to do the right thing, and she wasn't needed. She was appreciated but not needed.
Right.
It's
Totally agree.
crazy. I guess Teenie Howard has never read a Wonder Woman book, hasn't ever watched even the TV show, the movies. I wonder if she's heard the two words wonder and woman in this order before being asked if she would want to read this. I'm really wondering how did she even get asked if she wanted to do this? Did they not check her credentials? Where was editorial? Where
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's totally, whereas every other story so far has been okay, you know what? That totally fits with everything we know about that character.
Yes,
This seems totally out of left field.
yes. Like Hawk Girl found mortality.
Right.
Green Lantern got his sister back and was able to peacefully keep his people alive. Superman watched his son grow up in the lost years that he didn't have with him. Aquaman saw his parents get renew their vows and keep his people safe. Like, I mean, it's all been on brand, and then
Right.
then this is like the opposite of on brand.
Hmm.
Weird, just weird.
Yep. So let's talk about the Martian Manhunter backup.
Fire,
Yes.
fire. This was
Um,
really good. So well done. Dan Waters wrote this one, the guy who did that Arkham City World
yep.
book. He's a great
Hmm.
horror writer, and it shows in this. And it was done like John Jones, the classic detective guy, is done in a crime noir style, even with black and white with limited color of only red. It was very intriguing.
Right, and fits totally in with the character because if you know his history, how John Jones assimilated to Earth was he watched 50s television and he got hooked on the crime noir TV shows. So
Imagine that somebody just
go,
googling a character before they
go
write
do
a
the
story
history.
about him.
Right. Um, and so this story is interesting because the first thing we see is that as we go to the second page is everybody looks the same. Um, they
But
all
not
have
regular.
this. Yeah, they all have the. I can't think of the name of the pirate from
Davy
Pirates of the
Jones.
Caribbean. What's that?
Mr. Davy Jones.
Davy Jones, right? So they all have that Davy Jones look, but regardless of that, obviously it's not Davy Jones. But it's interesting that the first thing we see, okay, you know what, makes perfect sense that the world that John Jones would want to be in, Martian Manhunter, is a world where he is not different than everybody else, where he is the same. Okay,
So they
so it's
explain
right
it
at the
by
beginning.
this is set in a world where mankind has discovered their flaws as Homo sapiens, and through genetic science and stuff, they were able to cross their genetics with cephalopods, creatures in the ocean that can take great deal of ocean pressures. They can regrow limbs and stuff like that. And the side effect is that's what they look like. And it's not weird in the story because, like you said, everyone looks like that. And now they even look weirder than John perceives himself as compared to regular people. So it was spot on.
Yep.
Spot on. Though it looks weird on the surface, this is a Martian's paradise we're looking at.
Right. Right. And so it goes through, and there is they're chasing after a criminal, basically throughout the
Murderer.
entire thing. Again, what's that?
I
Yeah.
said a murderer. It opens up with a headless corpse with blood
Yep.
painted on the wall.
Yep. And a
It says,
message.
what does, I'm sorry, it says, what does paradise look like on earth?
Right.
Corpse on the ground, no head, his blood painted that on the wall. What does paradise look like on earth? John feels like they're talking directly to him for some reason.
Right. Exactly. And again, um, interesting that the besides the fact that it is um, everyone looks like him. He's not, he's not the oddball out. It's interesting that his world, his perfect world, would be a crime scene, would be a crime, a crime
And
scene.
also one where everyone can communicate and link telepathically as well.
Right, right.
They touch on how lonely he must have felt not being able to link with anybody before. Or was that in this book? It could be in a different book. Because everyone can link telepathically in this book, right?
Right.
Yes. Yeah, because that's how he's like communicating with his men. They just tune into his brain frequencies and stuff. Because we get a moment where he's hanging out and chilling with his family. He's got a wife and stuff, and she talks about how like if he would have been happier with his original Martian family on Mars, and he says he misses them, but he's right where he's happy to be at, and he loves her and everything. And then his partner tunes into him telepathically. Send me the location, Burton.
Mhm.
I've got a job to do.
Right. And so they end up, he ends up confronting the villain, the bad guy here, and it just so happens to look like the him that we have known for years. Nothing with the cephalopod face and everything. Um, and so he has this interesting dialogue with him, where the villain says basically this is all a false paradise. This isn't real. None of this is real. And basically what he does is he shoots him in the face.
Yeah. So the what looks like our regular Martian Manhunter is trying to explain to him what this world that he's in, that it's
Mhm.
all fake, it's a false paradise. All of this was just to get your attention. I am the deep, dark corner here to tell you what you already know, to offer you an escape route. And he shoots him right in the face, right then and there.
Yep.
So it leaves me really wondering.
Right. And he answers the question from the first page as the villain is dying. He says basically, the closest thing to paradise that exists is a world that gets a little better, even by increments, even false starts every day.
He said,
Um,
today this world is slightly better without a killer like you in it. Welcome to paradise, scumbag, and walks off. I'm like, that's tight.
exactly. total film noir, at the end there, calling the guy a scumbag, and
Mhm.
walking off. So this is great. I thought it was, it shows that you can do these, you can do good things in like 7 or 8 pages, and you can do really bad things in like 15 or 20 or 30 pages. you
Yeah,
know,
that was
it
ridiculous.
it does not depend. Size does not indicate quality.
Mhm.
Um,
Dan Waters crushed that issue.
right. So that was basically it, and then we get obviously the picture for the tease for the Green Arrow one, which is coming out next month. Um, Next week we have, I believe, we have the Flash, the final of the 4-part Search for Barry Allen, and we have Dark Justice, Dark Crisis, Young Justice, number 4, I believe. So we got two of them coming out next week.
I'm
Um,
excited for both of those.
yeah, exactly.
Excited for that
Um,
Young Justice. We have Young Justice versus the Justice League in this one. Should be fun.
Right. And we can talk about briefly, and I know we'll probably talk about it. Well, this will be after your week's end. But we got the big tease about the dawn of the DCU this week as
Yeah.
well. What's coming up after Dark Crisis?
The next era for DC Comics. I'm very excited.
Yeah. We got a from the DC solicitations. We got a new. They added another one shot called Dark Crisis: The Big Bang. As well. Mark Wade is going to be writing that. Um,
Guaranteed to
so
be fired then.
yeah, exactly. And I think that I would not be surprised if maybe Mark Wade and Ram V are to get together to write the next big DC event for next year.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, this makes sense from where they're
It
going
would
right now and
it
what
would
they're
feel
doing.
magical.
Yeah, it would be magical, wouldn't it? I see what you did there. Um,
Well, real quick, everybody, don't forget to comment in the videos. There's a big giveaway at the end of the Crisis events. The deep dive stuff is definitely going to be going on past the Crisis event as there's more stuff to cover, but we are going to book in the Dark Crisis with that big giveaway and talk more about what comes after that as we get closer. The more videos you comment on, the better your chances are of winning some of these awesome prizes. Full set of the Dark Crisis event, Crisis on Infinite Earths collected trade paperback, which has been ordered through my LCS at this point because I've been waiting for one to pop in. I just had to order one. I'm not coming off
nice,
mine.
nice. Yeah. So again, like, subscribe, comment, do all those good things. But we will be back next week taking a look at the Flash and Young Justice. So I'm Paul. He's Mark.
But we
Um,
are Legion.
yes, and you are now leaving Sector 2815.